Thursday, October 14th, 2021, Monaco 64, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. I don't want to be a scaremonger, but I see an imminent collapse all around the world of major economies. And why do I say that? Well, the stories that are coming out, even though you might not see them in the mainstream media, are particularly worrying. And actually, in a way, it's a positive. It shows that the heavy-handed mandates, rules that the globalists are trying to impose on the general public all around the world are backfiring. And they've only got themselves to blame, but it will be, how can I say, disruptive. Hopefully you will be prepared, not only financially, but mentally and spiritually. I actually feel like my home is my safe haven now, and I'm glad it's owned outright. No mortgage, no rent. That's why I've always told people, try to pay off your debts. So what's made me more worried today? Well, a few things. The first one is in Italy. Yes, I don't really look at Italy too much, but I wanted to see what's going on there because a few days ago, I think it was on the weekend, there were a lot of protests in Rome, and they were chanting, "Let's go, Brandon," to the Italian Prime Minister Draghi. You know what I mean. He's a former president of the ECB. He's a former Goldman Sachs banker. So I had a look at the major Italian paper online, Corriere della Sera, yesterday, and I found out that there's going to be a major strike tomorrow. Truck drivers, or HGV drivers, and port workers are going to go on strike against the, they call it a green pass. Here they would probably call it, you know what, a CV pass. And so as you can see here, it's in Italian, but I'll translate it for you. Green pass, gli autisti e l'ombra del ricatto, tensione per la mobilitazione di domani, rischio, sciopero mascherato a Milano. So yeah, they're planning to go on strike, truck drivers and port workers. I mean, if that isn't important for the economy, I don't know what is. Below here it also says that a lot of independent workers and taxi drivers are against the green pass, as you can see here as well. Autonomi tassisti e camionisti. So it's all in doubt, and they're calling this strike a blackmail, but I would say it's the government and the globalists who are blackmailing people into having a medical procedure, and if they don't have their jobs. And that's why I think a lot of people are walking out. Not only in Italy, well, in Italy they're striking, but in the US, I recommend a really good YouTube channel I found out the other day. Yeah, it's called Timcast IRL. Luke Radowski is on there a few times participating. And they talk about, in this video here, record number of employees quit in August. I think it was 4.3 million. They call it the Great Resignation. They talk about the Southwest Airlines situation, that the CEO has now come out and blamed the president, that he's against the mandates. So I think these stories are just tips of the iceberg. And the interesting thing is that you won't hear about the strike in Italy here in the UK. You won't hear about Southwestern Airlines here in the UK in the mainstream media. And I'm sure there's a lot of people boycotting, walking out here in the UK, especially in the public sector, in the health sector. Anyway, I think that coupled with the energy crisis. That I haven't even gotten to that, and it's getting worse here in the UK. Yesterday, we had news that another two energy suppliers went under because of record wholesale gas prices. They're blaming the government cap on that, even though one of the companies here called Pure Planet, which was backed by British Petroleum or BP, said a few weeks ago that they were okay, that they were hedged, but all of a sudden they just collapsed. And the worrying thing about this, yes, the people whose companies have gone under, they're called orphaned customers, right? And that's starting to create a problem. So it says here, larger groups, including market leader Centrica, have recently warned that it is becoming increasingly difficult for them to continue to bear the cost of taking on orphaned customers, given the disparity between the costs of buying energy at current wholesale prices and the £1,277 a year maximum they are allowed to charge under Britain's energy price cap. Although these costs can be recovered via a levy that ends up on consumer energy bills, it can take 2 years. So even Centrica, which is basically British Gas, is worried now. And then this morning, there's another headline, another story about gas and energy in the UK. It says UK gas shipping company to stop delivering to retail suppliers. So it says Glencore-backed CNG adds to pressure on consumer energy market already reeling from failures. I wouldn't be surprised to see more of these challenger energy suppliers going bust, and the government having a big problem because, as you saw, Centrica, they can't keep up. So this is what the article says. A UK company backed by Glencore that supplies natural gas to utility companies has told its customers it can no longer continue its services, raising fear of another string of failures in the crisis-hit British retail energy market. So what's the solution? Well, a lot of these companies are saying that the cap that the government puts on what they can charge consumers is leading to them collapsing because they have to buy the gas at a lot higher price and sell it at a low price. So the solution, of course, is to lift that cap or that debt ceiling, so to speak, lift that ceiling and let the market decide where the price should be. Of course, it's going to be a lot higher price. It's going to be an even worse winter. And we know that it's affecting big industries that use energy. They're having to shut down a lot of industries because they can't operate profitably. So yes, the currency is collapsing. This is what hyperinflation is. The energy sector is kind of the focal point, and also now the labor sector with all the mandates. That's going to create a problem. We don't hear much about this in the UK like we have about Southwestern Airlines or the strikes in Italy. So as I've said before, this is the unraveling, I think, of 50 years of fiat currency, of financialization, of central bankers and politicians and governments thinking that they can just borrow, and that people can just borrow and spend without really focusing on production. The Austrian school always says, for every consumer, there must be a producer. But the Keynesians, they don't think of producers. They just think of borrowing and spending. And I think this is this is the consequence of it, that we're paying for it now. It's going to be painful. I think the only upside is that it will only get better, and hopefully we'll go to a better system, not Mr. Schwab's or Herr Schwab's system. We're going to build back better our own way, not the great reset way or the World Economic Forum way. And that's my hope. That's my hope. And that's why we need to stick together. Yes, Yesterday was a good day for gold and silver for that matter. Only later on in the day. Well, actually early on in the day here in London, gold was doing very well. Then we had the CPI numbers that came out a little higher than expected. They were expected at 5.3%. They came out at 5.4%. And then they smashed gold down to like 1757. It was trading around just below 1770. But then all of a sudden, gold just shot up with silver, which was really encouraging and is very encouraging, I would say. I'm not getting excited. I am patient and I'm holding on. And it's very easy for me to hold on to my gold and silver because the other option is financing the people who are trying to really destroy our lives. With their draconian rules and what has happened in the last almost 2 years. So it's 8:30 a.m. London time. I think gold got up to a high of 1796 or thereabouts yesterday. Right now we're at 1792.50, which is virtually unchanged on the close yesterday. A range has been 1795 to 1786. Silver is up 6 cents or 1/4% at 23.14. Range has been 23.24 and 22.88. Yeah, the bullion bankers, the BIS, they're going to keep control of it for as long as they can of the precious metals prices. But eventually, I know a lot of you don't think it will ever happen, but I do, because the truth always comes out. The truth that the dollar, the paper dollar, the fiat dollar is worth basically nothing, and they've created trillions upon trillions, will eventually come out. And I think that's what commodity prices and all the disruptions are telling us. So we've got the Dow future up 150. We got the NASDAQ 100 future up 100 points. So they are up about 0.5%. S&P 500 is up 0.5% as well. The FTSE is up 35 points or 0.5% at 7180. It's crazy to see these stock markets at these levels with what's going on in our economies. But it's just a fake. It's like a casino. It doesn't really mean anything, I would say. What about the currencies? Well, sterling is up 1/4% at 136.97. The euro is up 0.1 at 116.08. The dollar is up about 0.2 versus the yen at 113.43. Dollars unchanged versus the yuan at 643.18. Aussie dollar is up 1/3 at 74.04. The dollar is down about 0.4% versus the Canadian dollar at 123.95. And the Kiwi dollar is up 0.5%, just above 70. So the commodities are continuing to look very interesting. We've got WTI crude back above 80 this morning. We're near the highs, up 0.75% at 80.60. We've got high-grade copper up 1% at 4.53. If you remember well, copper has been recently down to 4, so it's rebounded quite a bit. Natural gas is up almost 2% at 5.77, which is not good for the energy sector. You probably want to see this price go below 5 or even 4 for there to be a bit of relief for the energy suppliers in the UK, but it doesn't look like they will. Looking at some other commodities, I noticed that lumber is starting to pick back up, as you can see here by this weekly chart. And I saw a story that the European Union is pushing for a timber levy on Russia. And the European businesses are complaining because lumber prices, timber prices have gone up. And here you have the bureaucrats imposing a 15% levy on Russian lumber imports, which is crazy. But that's how politicians and bureaucrats act. It says here, Matt Kilcoyne, director of the Institute for Free Trade, said the idea of the EU was to bring down trade barriers and to support consumers by lowering prices. Protectionist policies inevitably damage the economy and pass on costs to consumers. So there you go. That's the way they think, these people. And they've got no clue. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like button. Please share it far and wide. Think about subscribing to my channel if you haven't yet. And you can also follow me on Rumble, Twitter, Facebook, and all these other platforms below here. I wish you all a great day. Take care. Bye.